He got on the topic of basically crying over seeing a dead mouse or rat in a trap at work.
This is the end. Yeah.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up if you would like. Today, we are jumping into r/RPG horror stories. Oh my god, it's horrible. I've been missing some RPG horror stories. Ramtide, he seems to have stepped away. He's working on his own RPG stuff for a little while. We finished up the Star Wars shenanigans. Irish Pirate also working on his own thing for just a little while. So what are we gonna do? How are we going to get our Tales from the Tabletop fix? Well, there's actually an entire subreddit, which I go to sometimes, and that is RPG Horror Stories, if you haven't put all that together quite yet. It is absolutely delicious, not necessarily a not safe for work one. I hope that it's creepy enough, because sometimes you compare the RPG Horror Stories to the Beard stories, and you're like, actually, that ain't too bad. But they are their own animal, so let's judge them on an individual basis, and I hope that we get some of that delicious, sweet, pure, unadulterated cringe that we all come for today. So let's go ahead, we'll get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive right into some of this r/RPG horror stories cringe. Creepy bully makes me leave game. Okay, don't let the bullies win, alright? He can't make you do nothing. You sit there, you just be obstinate as hell. You're like, I'm not leaving, you leave. I'm not letting you win this one, bully. But also, if you are, like, suffering mentally from his presence, maybe it is good to just get away. I can't live your life for you, but I know that I'm stubborn as hell. I wouldn't let him chase me away like that. Anyways, so to start off, I'm relatively new to D&D. This happened recently, and I have since decided to leave the game entirely. God damn, that sucks. I mean, the best thing that you can do if you're new to D&D is play with people that you trust 100%. If you're jumping in there with a bunch of randos, yeah, you might have a bad time. And I hope that this hasn't, like, soured your entire experience towards D&D, OP. I hope you'll give it another chance at some point down the road, maybe just with people that you know and trust and actually like. But that's just my suggestion. So, I was playing Curse of Strahd online with a 5-person party. The Dungeon Master was amazing, and I enjoyed her storytelling and the setting a lot. We were all, as far as I was aware at the time, about the same age. I played a Vengeance Paladin who was basically a Thembo, kind, strong, not too bright, pretty do first, think later, but they had their own past. Honestly, that is probably the type of character that you want to play when you first get into the game. You're like, okay, some character that doesn't know what they're doing because the player behind the character doesn't really know what they're doing. So it plays fine. That's what I do in a lot of D&D games. As long as you don't lean towards lawfully stupid, right? Hey, check out the t-shirt over on Teespring, Lawful Stupid. It's new, it's hot, it's fresh off the presses. I do hope that you consider adding it to your wardrobe. It's actually probably more wearable than some of the other t-shirts that we got. So yeah, hopefully we're gonna stay in Thembo territory and not lead over into Lawful Stupid, but I guess we'll see. The player in question was playing a Grave Cleric. I'm just gonna refer to them as Cleric from now on. The first few sessions are great. Death House was a bit of a crawl for our group due to just really bad positioning and the rest of our party's interest being a little further away. My paladin died in Death House. Oh, snap! That's it, roll up a new character. You dead, you dead. That's how it's supposed to work, right? However, our DM was a merciful god and basically used that as an opportunity for her paladin pact to come in. We would all hit level 3 at that point, so it was fitting. Boo! I mean, it's not my game, I can't really tell you how to play, but as far as characters go, if you're dead, then you're dead, right? Don't pull no punches. It's a new player, yes, but hopefully you learn something along the way. Whatever. I guess OP's glad that her character's not dead, so fine. We'll carry on. I'm not gonna pretend to be a hardcore player or anything like that. But I will say, as an aside, what is a fucking game without consequences? This is nothing. All right. Wind it back a little bit. I don't want to come out of the gate too hot. Let's just see how it goes from there. Well, Cleric's character began becoming a little rude to my character. I didn't take this to heart yet because I assumed that it could make for a decent character or friendship development. He did chastise/yell at her about how serious of a problem she could be in front of several NPCs, and also insinuated that she could be evil now and didn't know the levity of her situation. I mean, that's fair, especially as a grave cleric. I'm sure he sees some stuff come back to life, go all Pet Cemetery. It might not be a good time. My character got offended by this, but didn't say anything beyond basically, if I were evil and my nature had changed, I don't think I would have tried to save you back there. Or maybe you would have tried to save me back there to get on my good side and make me trust you before you stab me in the back, right? I mean, not to seem like a dick, but I do kind of see where the cleric is coming from at this point. But I'm not determined to turn on the OP, all right? Contrary to popular belief, I don't do it every story, so we're just gonna keep it rolling and wait for the cleric to get creepy and bully-y. And if it never happens, then in the final thoughts, OP will get lambasted. These minor comments about things that died should stay dead pointed towards my character were consistent for the next few sessions. Honestly, I agree with him. But it is the DM's choice at the end of the day. Is he just role-playing really hardcore? Like, it seems like, 60% roleplay and 40% this guy being hardcore and wanting a game that has consequences. While I did think that this was understandable, maybe a little overkill, my character just didn't talk to his unless it was with the group. Okay, good. Everybody is on equal footing at this point. I think you are all being rational human beings. I see where everybody's coming from. I'm very proud of you. This doesn't seem like it's devolving just yet. Now, this player had been talking back and forth with me in group chats on Discord and privately. It was, up until this point, relatively harmless. Just like fun character stuff. Occasionally just checking in on each other, mildly pleasant stuff. Because this was online, I didn't know any of these people personally. Yeah, but I guess you do want to say hello if people say hello to you and things like that. The social contract dictates as much, but perhaps that opens the door. Perhaps this is where the devolution starts. I've seen it far too many times before. I talked about my cat in the general chat when a few other people are on and made a joke a little bit later. It's late, so not everyone's online. I say something along the lines of, ha, my cat's purring on my lap to cure my depresso espresso. Yeah, totally relatable, hashtag, etc. Cleric decides that this is the best time to ask me about my mental illnesses and mental health history. Now, I don't lie, but I do try to avoid questions because, yeah, this is uncomfortable. Okay, so what you need to do right there is just state as plainly as possible that question makes you uncomfortable. Why would you try and avoid the question? That's not going to fix the situation. It's not okay for him to ask, but yes, if he does ask, correct him outright. So both of you dropped the ball here a little bit, as far as I'm concerned. He asks me why I have depression. I just respond, yeah, a lot to unpack there, haha. Let me just boil it down to 3 talking points. Why does anybody have depression? Because existence is hard. Fuck off. What do you want from me? And I don't say anything else. I've only been playing with these people for maybe a month and a half, so I don't want to really divulge any of that in a general chat. Yeah, 6 weeks? I don't know you from fucking Bob. Get out of here. Why are you asking me some stuff like that? I don't understand how you didn't go like full prickly at this point, OP, and be like, that's not appropriate. I don't like it. Just establish yourself as that person, and then nobody will ask in the future. Piece of cake, solved, next. I then message him privately saying, hey, I just don't feel like this is an appropriate conversation to have in general. He then proceeds to talk about his trauma and depression for the next maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Why would you message him that privately? Let me ask you that. Now that's a barrel of monkeys that you can't put the worms back in, right? I would call you out in general chat. Be like, that's not appropriate for general. Then everybody can see it. But to go into the DMs and be like, oh, hey, how's it going? Also, maybe you shouldn't. Again, both people are kind of at fault here. Honestly, the can of worms for all of this to unfold probably was opened when you were talking about the cat. Like, the ha-ha funny joke that nobody with a sense of humor would laugh at. That hashtag relatable joke. I mean, I understand maybe you're wanting to reach out and form a connection with these people, but form a connection outside of like, hey, I'm a depressed person. Nobody wants to hang out with a depressed person. What the fuck? Again, I'm coming at OP a little hot. Maybe wind it back a little bit. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get through the story, everybody. I did not ask. I expressed a discomfort for the topic initially and really didn't know how to respond. I basically just said, I'm sorry at the end or something of that nature. He continues this kind of talk about his frustrations and I just don't respond. Slam the door. Why you leave the door open at all? Just be like, look, this is not a cool conversation. I'm not having fun. You think anybody's having fun with this fucking conversation right now? You got problems? Go tell them to your therapist. I'm not equipped to help you with any of this shit. And then guess what? He's never gonna tell you about his problems ever again. Problem solved. Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bong, fuck your life.
Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
This dude is just out here trying to connect over the door that you opened initially. And you don't even have the good sense to close the door? Once you see what's behind it? Come on, man. You're doing this to yourself at a certain point. I can't feel all that bad for you. At first, I didn't bring it to the Dungeon Master because I didn't know how they would respond. I was uncomfortable with that person, but was worried that my discomfort would seem unwarranted. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, sorta. Why can you not deal with this yourself? Why do you need to run off to mommy and be like, Dungeon Master, he sent me a DM in response to the DM that I sent him. Gasp, how could he? Why are you not establishing your own set of boundaries here? It is so very basic. I understand you guys are relatively young, but 20-ish is fucking old enough, all right? You gotta learn some hard lessons today. Another conversation happened in general where people were talking about previous job experiences. He got on the topic of basically crying over seeing a dead mouse or rat in a trap at work.
This is the end. Yeah.
I do love rats, but I mean, come on. I'm not gonna open up about that in a general Discord chat. No. But did OP brush that comment off, completely ignore it since this dude was being creepy in the DMs, or did she step out and engage once again? Go ahead, take a guess. You already know. OP was like, yeah, I'd cry over that too. Some of those fuckers are kind of cute. And then he kind of condescendingly told me that it's not normal for men to cry about stuff like this. Men can cry over whatever they want to cry over. Would I air that in a general chat? No, I wouldn't. But I do love ratties. I mean, I do understand that they are sentient creatures as well. I could have loved that rat if he didn't get his back broken in a trap. I can kind of see where it would come from, especially if I was like feeling emotionally vulnerable that day. But again, I'm not going to tell the entire Discord chat about it. That's something that stays between friends. Those are those inside thoughts. Toxic masculinity has just entered the chat. All I'm saying is you can cry over whatever you need to cry over, but don't air it in the chat. And then when somebody identifies with you, you brush them off. Like, that's not how you make friends. He's trying to be so different than other guys. God, I think OP and this dude, honestly, are both just awkward as hell. I was just a little shocked about that. And I said, no, fuck that. Anyone can cry. At that point, he called me darling in general, instead of my nickname, which was my name in Discord. Darling. Oh, God. Oh, it's starting to devolve real quick. Fuckle them seatbelts. I didn't appreciate that either. And I simply logged off because I didn't know how to respond. I'll give you a clue, OP. Don't call me darling. You don't know me like that. Why are you avoiding this confrontation? It's only going to come to a head. And I suppose it is fair. You know, I've had a lot of people point out to me that, like, women don't want to be confrontational in real life because men can quickly turn dangerous. That's valid. But on Discord, is this just some kind of, like, inborn programming from society? Which is completely possible and valid, but to me it just seems completely weird for this guy to make you uncomfortable and for you to just shut down instead of shutting him down, which is really what needs to happen if you want to stay in this group. It seems like you like the group, except for this one guy. Why no block? Button right there. Easy do block. I don't know, man. You don't even need to construct a wall of text about it. You just say, ew. You know what I mean? Twitch chat is confirming that women are taught from an early age not to be confrontational. But if we're breaking gender stereotypes for men, yeah, it's okay to cry. You don't have to fix cars or whatever to be a real man. Then I'm breaking gender stereotypes for women as well, okay? Get in that fucker's face. Hit him with the bear mace or something. As soon as I invent a device that allows people to bear mace each other over the internet, I'm gonna be a really rich man. People would bear mace me on. I could never sit in front of my computer because I get bear maced every time somebody dislikes a video. It'd be hilarious. People would do it while I'm on stream. They just bear mace me for fun. That's hilarious. It was at this point that I raised concerns to another person in the group because I didn't know how to approach the situation. On one hand, I could message Cleric and tell him that he made me uncomfortable, but I worried that his response would be unreasonable because they got frustrated a lot in-game over minor stuff. I could also message the Dungeon Master and hope that she would kind of see how odd it was and maybe work something out. It doesn't seem to me like talking to the cleric guy would really help. Last time we got in the DMs, it just turned into a venting session, and that's never good. Obviously, he's getting frustrated a lot over stuff in-game. He doesn't seem like a very balanced individual in his own life. How about maybe work on yourself before you come dragging it into a D&D game? So at that point, yes, I could see taking it to the DM, and they might at least instruct you a little bit on how to deal with this better, since it's probably something that they've dealt with before between players if they DM often. Honestly, if you nip this thing in the butt as quick as possible, then it's less awkward for everybody. And OP kind of did try to, just not as confrontationally as I guess it's going to take for it to get through the cleric's head. So if it's not working talking to him directly, yeah, tell the DM. Something's got to happen. This situation's untenable. So this person informed me it was especially weird since Cleric knew everyone on the server was in their early to mid-20s. I had mentioned just finishing up college and graduating early once or twice because of game scheduling, and Cleric was at least 35. Oh, God. You a decade older than everybody, bro? Oh, man. Maybe another day of playing D&D and jerking off will help me turn my life around. Bro, you need some help. You need some deep help. This guy is horrible, neckbeardy, like to the fullest, through and through. That is a big fucking yikes. Whew. This wouldn't be an issue if it weren't for their previous actions. I was more than a little creeped out. Yeah, this is getting worse and worse. All right, I am firmly on OP's side at this point. Just for everybody that's keeping score, this creep, definitely a creep. I went to the DM after a few more sessions. Don't wait, OP. Like I said, sooner the better. His character continued to chastise mine like a child and made pointed remarks about her basically being wrong for coming back. Well, now I gotta completely abandon that outlook too. I still believe games should have consequences, but not like this. Not like this. She didn't say anything and didn't talk to him outside of what was completely necessary. She was acting upset towards him, but not being blind about their situation. He seemed to, at one point after his character died and was brought back, apologize to her and realize that he was wrong. But she was still not ready to necessarily be friends with him, because really she only knew him to nitpick her and basically think that she was some sort of monster. See, he's trying to like extend the olive branch, but attached to that olive branch is just a big disgusting neckbeard. And don't take the branch because the neckbeard's gonna come with it, okay? I think this is the best that we could do for now. Shut him out. You did good, sticking through the sessions as much as possible. It's also a mystery to me why the DM, like, doesn't step in. Maybe she thinks, haha, this is just funny in-game roleplay or something like that. But after weeks of this, at some point, I'd be like, hey, can you fucking not? You're making the whole party dynamic pretty awkward with the way that you're treating this other player. Maybe she's a new DM too. It's really hard to say. We don't get, like, a ton of information. I'm just judging it off of one Reddit post. It was basically a case of, it's fine if he does it, but not if I do it. She wasn't hostile, just distant. She responded with, good, glad you realized that I'm not the enemy, and we moved on. Or did they? After this session, I brought my discomfort to the DM. I basically said that I was thinking of leaving because I felt that my discomfort with Cleric was hindering me from enjoying the game. I mean, you let it get to this point, and DM let it get to this point, and the dude let it get to this. Everybody's at fault. There, that's easy. Fixed. Next. I told them the basics of what happened and provided screenshots of stuff in the group chat and offered to, if necessary, provide some from our direct messages. I wanted them to be aware in case others had future problems with him in the group. We talked it out to see what could be done, and we decided that I would try to continue, because I did like my character and this game, after she had a conversation with Cleric about his conduct, and he agreed to no longer message me. Well, that seems like a pretty good outcome, doesn't it? The best thing that this DM could possibly do would be to kick the Cleric out, but I don't know. We don't know about the entire group dynamic, like how much of the group actually likes the guy that plays the Cleric. This creepy 35-year-old man hanging out with a bunch of 20-year-olds. I don't think that anybody's really too attached to him. And at that point, you know, you're cutting off the foot to save the leg or whatever. But the DM did what she thought was right, so okay, I'm just gonna roll with that. This is what happened. So things were okay, if a little bit tense in-game. At one point, his character and another character, Divination Wizard, were having a conversation on watch. He had royally fucked up by trying to be the face of the group when we encountered Strahd, talked over me, the only charisma character, and gotten himself charmed and nearly killed. Would have been killed if it wasn't for the silvery barbs. Yeah, and the fact that this DM seems really scared to, like, let people actually die. It's a game without consequences. Don't worry about it, guys. Normally, I wouldn't complain about others taking the lead or being the face, but in important situations, it seems stupid to talk over the paladin with a +7 to persuasion at level 4. His grave, he can dig it, I guess. In the conversation, Cleric was upset that my character didn't like him. He wasn't sure what else he could do. He apologized, so things should be better. I don't know why you can't put this one together. You've berated me for weeks and weeks, and then you said sorry once. So I'm just supposed to forget about all of that? I forgive you, but I don't forget. I'm not just lowering the walls and be like, yeah, come on back in. Everything's fine now. No, I know you're a snaky bitch. I'm not gonna let you back in, no questions asked. Now, this dude didn't know my character's backstory, so I can't fault him for that, but she wouldn't accept an apology when he continued to be mad at her for small things. In her eyes, he treated her like she was incompetent, which, to be fair, yeah, he definitely did. He would talk over her, try to constantly do things for her, would jump in head first into combat or into a dungeon without talking to the rest of the group, and would be upset if he didn't do anything big. Oh, he's the lawful stupid one. Okay, easy. He kind of flopped in placing his stats, built a cleric with decent wisdom, but was basically average with dex and strength and had higher charisma, and he would just complain about it constantly. Reroll your stats. Why did you choose to play this character? I don't understand. You really got to make it everybody else's problem? I guarantee nobody else in the group likes him. I don't know why the DM just didn't let him go. To me, this whole group seems like sort of a dumpster fire. I'm sorry this had to be your first experience, OP. But as far as I could tell, from the outside, from one Reddit post, it's not going well. The small moments kept compounding, and frankly, his constant complaining about, oh, he wasn't doing good, or how certain characters weren't being nice to him, was getting on my nerves. My character avoided talking to him at best, but was never really openly rude to him. His character, on the other hand, was pretty friendly to everyone else, but his rude/targeted comments were specifically towards my character. This entire situation is extremely frustrating to me. I don't know why I decided to do this. This is a frustrating as hell story. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna flip the whole fucking game board and say, run your own campaigns, you bunch of babies. You can't play nice while you're playing pretend. Roleplay is not that hard, all right? You can't just project your in real life views onto your character and have this little tiff going inside game and out of game. You're both fucking done. How about that? I'm running a campaign for only 3 people now. Once you guys work it out, maybe come back. But until then, get the hell out of my game. I appreciate the DM, trying to make everybody work it out, but they're obviously not working it out. So Iron Fist is what we have to do. My character had a few minor hiccups with others, but she had them in the heat of the moment and apologized for her brashness later, and basically explained that it wasn't their fault that she talked like that their reaction was warranted, and that she was sorry, but she ultimately worried for everyone's safety and didn't know how to convey that without letting on that she sensed something that she shouldn't have. Oh, so OP's really the unpopular one here, right? I bet if OP got chopped, nobody would bat an eye. I stick to what I said. Get rid of them both. That's fine. The group will run more cohesively if you show that you're not afraid to kick a motherfucker out, right? If only because they're scared of being the next one that gets kicked out. There, end, done. Maybe not the best way to handle things, but definitely how I would handle it. So this all comes to a head when we get to a new town. Everyone is at an inn/tavern around midday. That guy decides to order fine food / wine and basically spends a shit ton of money on this stuff. And my character was a noble before all this, and then he seems kind of upset that he's not getting any romantic attention from one of the NPCs, who is 17 or 18, and his character is in the late 20s. She seems to like my paladin, is gay, confirmed, and my paladin's unaware of this and is also not interested, but is also just a nice person. God, this is so cringe, dude. Oh, it's running super deep. Y'all are fighting over a fucking NPC? I hate this. Why? Why are we... Can we just be murder hobos? It was a simpler time when we were all just murder hobos. Wizard asks a question about giving birth. It's not actually about giving birth. Something very strange had happened with the food, and our wizard is a reborn, basically about a week or 2 weeks old. What? I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but okay. The cleric begins to answer. My paladin basically just tired and not trusting the surrounding area, and also had a very bad night. Strahd made her relive trauma, and the group knew that happened in character, but didn't know what it was exactly that she saw. My paladin decided to say, can we please not talk about this thing now? Maybe when you're in private later. We're in public. This whole fucking story is so disjointed. And it turns out, much like it was the entire last month, that OP was the most unlikable one. Watch the group turn on her now. Cleric gets big mad, saying, yes, mistress, whatever you want. Super sarcastic and rude. And I'm personally taken aback by this, and my character simply just goes, what? Why are you acting like this? Genuinely, I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, join the fucking club, I guess. I made a suggestion, and maybe it wasn't the nicest way to put things, but still. He then says, you're always telling me what to do and where to go, and you never let me do anything. I just have her leave at that point and just explain that it was only a suggestion, and I go out the door because I'm not dealing with that bullshit. I'm quiet for most of the rest of the session, had connection issues as well, so I just left a little over 3/4 of the way through. You guys are all a bunch of fucking babies. It's not just the wizard that seems like they were born a week or 2 ago. You guys are all so emotionally mature. You really can't work out your problems. This is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever experienced. I thought tabletop RPG horror stories would be a little bit of a relief. It's not. I'm cringing all the way through this. The DM messages me afterwards to check on me, and I tell her that I had connection issues. Why are you not being open and honest about the situation? See, you can't even be honest with the DM, the person that is supposed to be fucking helping you out with this scenario. And then you just walk away and you're like, it's everybody else's fault. Can't you see, OP, how you participated in this, at least the tiniest bit? Christ. After a little bit of thinking about it, I explained that I just can't handle cleric anymore. The spats at first were fine because they were minor and didn't feel targeted, but it was just becoming too much, so I had to leave. It sucked because I really liked how she DM'd and the rest of the group, but there was no way that I could continue playing at the same table as him. She told me that he had stayed after the game to complain about how I always disagreed with his character, and she assured him that it was just in character. Neither OP nor this dude are in character. They are letting their petty little problems boil over into game, and if I was that DM, in order to save the group, you need to get rid of both of these people. You need to keep your pimp hand strong if you're really gonna be a DM. You see some problems unfolding, you're like, hey, we're not having that shit. Put your foot down. Yeah, it's great to try and play nicey nice, but nicey nice apparently ain't working. It ain't getting through the skulls of either of these people. So you need to bring out the big guns and let them know how it's gonna be. I don't think that he could say the same. The comments and the vitriol for my character seemed to get worse after I brought things up to the DM. Even one of the other players was surprised by his actions and thought that he was being an ass. They said they were annoyed by him constantly, but could stand him because they weren't on the receiving end of his remarks. Yeah, even that player's an asshole. They see something terrible happening to another player and they're like, ain't happening to me. Fuck you, Paladin. Better you than me, I guess. What is wrong with these people? Jesus, this is why you don't play D&D with randos, okay? I really have no words to describe how stupid this seems. I have many words to describe it, but we'll get to that. And how bad I feel for leaving, but also I'm just in awe that this happened. Ugh. There were plenty of other minor incidents, but this is the basic outline of events. I'm so frustrated with all of it and glad that it's over, even if I miss my character and the rest of the party. TLDR, guy who I found out was much older than me by at least 15 years, trauma dumped on me, called me pet names, and generally made me uncomfortable, continued to, in character, treat my character poorly for things that happened mostly beyond my control, and I finally left the game when his character accused my character of telling him what to do all the time. Found out that he complained to the DM about me always disagreeing with him. I don't know what the fuck is going on here, and I don't even know where to start with unpacking it, but okay. To me, it seems like OP is only giving one side of the story. She 100% paints herself as the victim. She's like, all this horrible stuff happened to me. She mentions the cleric's counter arguments like in passing, just a fleeting, hey, your character disagrees with mine all the time. It seems like you've got two players that are just endlessly squabbling, both in-game and out of game, and bless the DM for trying to put up with it, for trying to work around it, but the best you can do at that point is just cut both of them off. You can return to the game when you work your shit out, and they get one chance when they return. They start squabbling again, that's it, you're gone, forever. Maybe the cleric was legitimately like a nice guy in disguise and, you know, he got brushed off at first and so he decided to take the frustration of that rejection out on OP, but it's hard to judge because we're only getting one side of the story. OP swears she wasn't at fault at all, which doesn't seem to be the case. Even once he apologized, you still seem to be holding on to just a little seed of vitriol at the very least. So I don't think that anybody's innocent in this story. This was just a complete dumpster fire. This is not the way that you play D&D, and far be it from me to tell you how to play, I guess. But even as I pointed out at the beginning, the DM seems like she got a really weak hand. She's like, oh, your character died? Well, let's just bring him back to life. No, bitch! There's consequences, okay? Your character died, roll another one. We can make that new character level 3, but your old character's fucking dead. We all saw him die. This is ridiculous, bro. I don't think the whole story is being told here. I've tried to read between the lines as I usually do, and nobody comes out of this thing smelling like roses. I'm sorry you had a bad experience. I hope that you find a D&D game that runs a little bit smoother. But maybe that needs to be a D&D game amongst friends, so they know what you're about and you know what they're about. This rando stuff, it ain't for you. Honestly, it ain't for me either. But again, I can't live your life for you. Okay, I guess. Play however you want to play. Just don't bug me with this shit anymore. I'm too old. Anyways, friends, I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, I hope you like, comment, and or subscribe. I always appreciate that, you know? Maybe share the video around. That would be pretty cool. We got all kinds of links in the description. Plugs, playlist, podcast. Yes! Spotify, iTunes, wherever. I also mentioned my Teespring somewhere in this episode. Thank you so much in advance. We got social medias as well. Twitter, Discord, Facebook, and Twitch, where we live stream this whole thing. We had Twitch chat dumping on both of our subjects the entire time, assisting me to read between the lines, and I do appreciate you guys so very much for that. We've also got my Patreon and my channel members. Thank you to all of them so very much. I'm gonna go ahead, let that list of names play one more time. Go ahead. Wire Jerry, Darth Luscious, Harley Owen, Repent the Squirrel, Robert Waits, Camille Sarah, Chase with Blue Kraken, Roxanne Wolf Sim, Jerry, Conrad Ingy, Captain Cloud, Jerry, Aaron Jerry, Esteban, Farrell, Lang, Son, Jerry Crusader, or Gamey Steve, Silent Revolver, PCB, Fluxer, Soldier of Industry, welcome my friend, Jerry, the original Jerry, that's who that is, Tick Jerry, Destiny Piper, Jerry, Kitsune, 211 Jerry, the two Jerrys, Very Tired Jerry, Justy Jargonian Jerry, and Frankenberry, that's a hiding bitch, isn't it? Aspen Exo, Assassin Pug Jerry, Aurora Wildheart, Baby Jerry, Bailey Joy, Peter Jerry, Ben Ramirez, Bitch Gremlin, Blip Blue Jerry, I'd like to order all the Jerrys in the register, yes, this is a robbery, oh my god, put your hands up, Bronze Kraken, Catholic Jerry, Commander J, Tank Confederate Jew, Dennis Dayton, Dr. Lux, Aaron Era, East Mars, Frozen Never Studios, Fire Drake, Gypsy, Hadrian VR, I'm Slim Jerry, I'm the real Jerry, Inquisitor Jerry, Irish Pirate, Hoist the Colors, there be a tendy frigate off the port bow, Iron Aloe, Irradiated Jam, Pimp J Crisp, JM Coon, Jerry Blacktail, Jerry Dow, Llama the Trucker, John Hero, John Jerry, Jingleheimer Schmitz, Crowhee, Cuddly Cracky, Legend Maker, Miss Monday, Lord Jerryo, Luca was a clever Patreon name, he drove so goddamn fast, like and subscribe, Milady Nix, The Last Jerry Bender, Malama Man, Melgar the Destroyer, Mental Fecta, Needless King 89, Nightmare Jerry, Paragon Soul, Phantom of the Pines, Jerry Kins and Jerry Beth, Queens, Quaaludes and Quagmires, Rose Jerry Miller, Sarita the Lolita, Sassy Octopus, Scarlet Kevin, Sergeant Gay Cop, Bringer of the Law, Silo Wimp, Stephanie Goodner, Synaptic Boomstick, Brilliant Tomago, Tapio Blue, Taylor Fair, The Italian Greyhound Dino, The Little Sue, The One True Fusky, Train Boy, trying to find another mom to get back to the real world. You probably don't want to blow into that balloon knot. Stinky balloon. V3 Prime, Vanguard Angel, Viking Jerry, Wikitech, Will Mags. Y'all remember that roller ring from a while ago? Turns out it was a Panda Express. I mean, it's now a Panda Express, or I'm a little confused by that. Zevin Gargoyle, Cobra Mooney, Kira, not another Jerry, but he is though. Redwing, Nog Viper, Safe Blessing, Third Stuff, Venom Jerry, Jace Christensen, Basic Bitch, Big Dad Wolf. One like Jerry the Neckbeard Hunter, Normal Jerry, Admiral T-Tag, Error Alder, another stupid hipster, Atomic Jerry Zilla, Bartender Kalia, Blueberry and Apple Pie, Broken Spine Horseradish, but Greedy Jerry, such a nice girl. Yes, nice. Cake Jerry, the original different Jerry, California Jerry Girl, Shepherd 7 Lock, Chicago the Panda, Corey does art, sometimes. Corporal Ammo, Princess Furry Warrior, Lou Jerry, Crypt Titties, Define Jerry, Def Tuna, Dopamine Dane Jerry, Dr. Cody Zawa, working on the Mountain Dew Destroyer to defeat Jerry Zilla. Dwarfy Dude, too tired to come up with anything. Just reread the name above me, Jerry. Dwarfy Dude, Jerry. Ghost of Alpha, he cannot. Janitor Jerry's roaming the streets of Finland, hunting down the Rudo headband. Jeffrey, Geralt of Rivia, Jerry Thomas is having New Year's way of the apocalypse. Jerry Springer, the results are in. You are not the Neckbeard. Yay! Jerry the Sussy Baka, Jerry's mom has got it going on. Check out the mustache on Jerry Aldo Rivera. Jerry Roxers, Jerry Role Playing Game, Keaton Tails, Kid Marvelous, Kids Again, Little Ann Woods, Lucia Lovecraft, Machia, CD, maybe next time Milkfed Kim, Miss Duchess, not Invisible Angel, Raptor, she's my Jerry Pie, Skymara Ravenswood, Snary, that's Nom Jerry, Snowman, what is best in life? To crush your neckbeards, to put them feet to Jesus, to hear the lamentations of their body pillows. Smokey the Rogue, Spoopy Scary, Jerry Ton, Techno Dubs, the original Jerry, not to Infinite Jerry and beyond. We on the way. Underwater movies, throws a 2-liter Mountain Dew. Grow, my neckbeard, grow. It's Jerry time. Holds ReddX Morpher. Hygiene. It's Jerry time. Holds ReddX Morpher. Humility. Good Lord. And thank you to my $1 patrons as well. Of course, we'd also like to thank our YouTube channel members. We got Skylar May, Amara. Oh, that sounds familiar. Gypsy Barber, Train Boy, Fire Drake, a Tiny Void, Samantha, Desk Flagship, Bearded Snake. Buy 2, get 1 hand. Definitely a couple of double dippers in there. If you can support the channel in such a monetary way, I would appreciate it. But if you can't afford to do it right now, don't sweat it too hard, friends. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope that you come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoyed today. Maybe like watching some more ReddX videos and not playing D&D with randos. I recommend both of those things highly. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I shall see you in the next one, and until then, friends, bye-bye.